Welcome, Jordan. It's so awesome to connect with you. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining me.
likewise.
Yes. So, just to give everybody an idea of what's happening here, Jordan is part of the Sub 2 community with me. We connected through PACE's Project Forward. Jordan was kind enough to join me on my first official podcast that I'm going to be putting out there as a part of Project Forward. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So to get started, I mentioned Project Forward. For those who don't know, what is PACE's Project Forward?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Stephanie, for having me on. It's an amazing opportunity to be on here with you. And so, yeah, just give you a quick overview on exactly what that Project Forward is that PACE has put together pretty much a really cool challenge to get everyone out of their comfort zone and start to create some more content. So we're kind of in like the third stage, and third stage to where you just create some podcasts with some fellow Sub 2 members and just people in the Project Forward challenge. And it really just challenges, it gives you the opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone and just have fun and be able to show people exactly what you're doing. So it's really good opportunity for people to be exposed and show their skills, I would say.
Awesome. Yeah, it's pushing me way out of my comfort zone because I had a YouTube channel I did set up, but I kept it pretty locked down. It was unlisted until Project Forward, and I finally posted my first video that is public, and thank God nobody's looking at it yet. No. Oh
Now you got to go post it all over.
I know. I did post it into the Sub 2 communities. I got it into our Facebook communities. So,
Nice.
yeah, so that's good. So with your background, like, well, okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I know that you're a nationwide investor. How did you get to that?
Yeah, so in all 2019, I was going to school. I was working a full-time job and then also trying to learn a little bit about wholesaling. So I was closing some deals here and there. And really, I would say it's more in my backyard. So I'm in Denver, Colorado. So I was closing a few here and there here. And then just started getting some deals sent to me from out of state, Texas, Florida. So I was like, oh, these are really good opportunities. Like, let me look into it. Was able to close a few of those. And just with me doing a full-time job and going to school, I was treating more of my real estate as a hobby. So I had an opportunity to actually go out to Miami. I went out there for a Grant Cardone seminar, but also in that meantime, I was able to speak with a gentleman that was looking to sell his commercial building. And so it was a large warehouse property out there, and it all worked out perfectly. I met the gentleman out at his property and ended up finding a buyer while I was out there. So the buyer flew out from Texas to come look at the property. Long story short, it didn't go through, but the buyer that came out there were like, hey, I really love what you're doing. Like, I can tell that you're really enthusiastic about just real estate in general. I want to bring you onto our team. And so they were a nationwide company that gave me exposure to single family all the way up to really big commercial units. And so I had that chance to work with them for about a year, and that kind of led me into just spreading my wings and just starting to do deals all over the nation.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So if you were on the team at some point, then what led you to think about like, okay, I don't want to be on a team anymore. I want to like, what was that next step for you?
Question. So essentially, I didn't know anything about creative financing. I mean, I would see Pace here and there. I watched him on Steve Train's video on his podcast. I was like, oh wow, like this is really interesting, but I never really took the action. So once I started taking action, deep diving in all of his videos, I started to try to implement it into when I was working with that company, and they just didn't see it. They didn't understand the creative financing, nor did they want to implement it. So it was kind of hard to want to go down that path of creative finance because I've seen there's so many other opportunities, and they were just focused on wholesaling, just straight cash wholesaling. So I was like, okay, like no worries. I'll kind of just abide by your rules. I've been told I'm not to pitch creative financing at all, which on the side I'm still pitching it. I'm like, hey, I got a really good deal. And they're like, no, just leave it alone. So long story short, I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of just branch off. They brought some new management in. It was just it started to get a little messy, and
Mhm.
so I decided to branch off and started my own team. And now it's been going very well. Can't complain about it.
Awesome. Okay, so starting your own team, how how did you do that? Did you go to the community, or how did you find people to put on your team?
Uh, well, it's still been a challenge. So I would say I'm still 3 months into building my team, barely in the beginning stages. However, I have some really good talent. So, I mean, I originally started out trying to find an integrator, somebody that can really help me on the back end and just assist and everything. So I was on search on that. Ended up coming across my partner that's actually in Denver, Colorado with me. We met at a meetup, ended up going snowboarding and kind of just chatting. I was like, hey, like, I think you would be really good for the position. Like, let's see what we can do. So we teamed up and pretty much just hit the ground running. I started putting out ads in the sub two community, Indeed, just posting it everywhere. And I had a few people reaching out to me, and we were lucky enough to have some really good candidates join the team. However, there was a lot of turnover. I mean, it's definitely not easy trying to run your own team. I probably went through 25, 30 people within these 3 months just because people will come and they'll go, or they'll come and they'll just ghost you. So it's kind of hard to get solid people on the team. But at the end of the day, I have a really good, I would say about 10 people right now that's helping me chug along. So,
Nice. Yeah. So, what do you think made the difference between the people that are staying, that are the good, strong 10 people versus the ones that just kind of slip off? Like, what are those intangibles or characteristics that you think make the difference?
yeah, that one's difficult. I mean, I would say definitely somebody that's not really looking to start their own team is an ideal candidate to be on your team. But
Mhm.
also somebody that kind of sees your vision and truly just wants to be along for the ride. Like people that are on my team now, they're like, hey, like, I love your vision. I love what you would see in the future. Like I feel it. Like you hype me up every time we on a call. And so I think it's just having people around you that truly want to go in the same direction as you and just want to grow. I'm not here to act like anybody's boss or be your manager. It's more of like, hey, I truly want to see us all grow and win together. So how can we do this? And I want everybody's feedback, creativity, and I think that's just the biggest characteristics of someone that wants to be on the team and someone that doesn't want to be on the team.
Ah, okay. So on this team, you mentioned an integrator. Who else do you have on your team at this point?
Yes, this point, I have 4 acquisitions agents. I have 1 transaction coordinator, and then I have 2 dispositions or 3 dispositions agents, and then me and my integrator.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So what do the KPIs look like on that? Do you have KPIs yet? Or
we do. So that's a good question. We're still trying to fine tune that. Really, I wanted to just start to run into problems. So we ran into some really good problems locking up. I think we had like 8 or 9 deals under contract. We ran into the bottleneck that we had no dispositions department to really move it. Like, so we had the dispo, but it just wasn't fine tuned. So we're still working on the work of all of that. However, I mean, stepped in. I pretty much used the rest of this month, so all of August, to truly sit down, map out the dispositions department, and we have 3 buyers already lined up. So hopefully we get those closed by end of this month, or if not, beginning of next week. And
Mhm.
as far as the KPIs, I mean, so we're truly still trying to fine tune it. But at this moment, anybody that's part time, because I do part timers that are still trying to learn more of the real estate side and want to give everybody the opportunity to show up and just work. So it's a minimum of 10 calls a day for part timers, and then for full timers, it's 50 dials a day. And it's more of just a dial. It's not if you speak with
Yeah.
anybody, it's just if it goes to the voicemail, that's considered a dial.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
have dialers and like, what kind of systems did you guys end up finding that work best for your team?
Yeah, definitely really CRM. So we went with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a gentleman named Rick Sheldon. He actually created his own CRM based off of Go High Level. It's called Open Dispo. And
Okay.
so it's a really good CRM. We have opportunity to call from the CRM with the numbers that they provide. We can text from there. It keeps track of all of our leads. So that's a really, like, I would say kind of an all-in-one. That way we don't have to go out and get too many dialers. We do have some cold callers on the team, so we have a separate dialer with call tools, and then pretty much just making sure that they organized. So like Google Drives, calendars, um, and then yeah, as I mentioned, that CRM definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what do you think the biggest challenges have been so far in building your team and going nationwide, all these things, like just real estate investing in general? What do you think your biggest challenges have been? And how did you overcome
um,
them?
yeah, yeah, really good question. So I would say our biggest challenges right now is just truly just continuously stay consistent. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just with anything. As long as you can stay consistent, you'll start to see the results that you want. And it's just, I would say sometimes it's a little bit challenging, especially if you're not closing anything or there's not money coming in right away. You just have to make sure everybody's still focused on the same path and understand what's the end goal. So the biggest challenge definitely is making sure that just everyone's on that same trajectory and wants the same thing, and we just all see the end goal. But now it's starting to come to fruition. Now we're starting to close some more deals, and everything's starting to be more streamlined. So I think that's really helpful.
Nice. Nice. So so you've got different members of the team that are working parts of the process. How does that look like? Because you said you're not trying to be the boss. Like, does everybody just get an equal piece of the pie, or how do you figure out who gets what?
Good question. So essentially, everyone is like a 1099, so they can still do their own thing, have their own business. So we are only giving out commission-based pay. So it's more of a situation that there's a few different tiers. So on my acquisition side, I have what we call a baby acquisitions, and they would collect 6% of the entire assignment fee. So assuming that I think it's 6% of the entire assignment fee. So let's just say we close a $1,000 deal, they would receive $600 off of that. Then we have our junior acquisitions, which they would collect 10% off the entire assignment fee, so that's $1,000. And then our senior acquisitions, they would be able to collect 20% of the entire assignment fee, and pretty
Gotcha.
much good to go from there. So there's always opportunity to grow within the company.
Yeah. So with them being 1099s, you're not trying to have them have like any kind of it's not a JV type of situation. It's a subcontractor kind of situation then, which
Yep.
would probably make it easier, cleaner to have the team. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've talked a lot about real estate. I'm really curious about the Turo business. Like I just heard about Turo 2 months ago from somebody at one of the meetups, and I know
Nice.
it has something to do with cars. People rent cars. Like, how does that work? How do you get into that?
Yeah, I would say Turo is kind of like an Airbnb for cars. It's really cool. It's a little bit opportunity. It depends. Like if you want to focus a lot of time there, you can really make some really good money.
Yeah.
But I mean, how I got into it, I came across it. I always like to watch like YouTube videos and podcasts, and whenever I hear something, I'll go research that. So I put on a podcast, ended up looking further into it, and I want to say it's been maybe like 4 or 5 years since I've heard of it, and I just put my personal call on there just to kind of see how it would be. It's quick sign up, really easy, so I was able to put my personal call on there, and within like 2 hours, I got my first booking. I was like, wow, like okay, it's really cool. So I was renting that out for maybe I'm gonna say 6, 7 months. That vehicle started to have some problems, so I ended up selling that vehicle, which really worked out because the income I got from the Turo, I also when I sold it, it kind of just washed out, and I also made like an additional $3,000 on top of what I paid for the actual vehicle. So
Nice.
yeah, it worked out perfect. But other than that, no, it's been a really good journey, I would say.
Wow. Okay. So this is not uh, Uber or Lyft where somebody's coming and picking you up. You're actually renting your vehicle out to somebody and they're taking it for a period of time. Like, so you're renting it, like, is it by the hour or how does that work?
It's typically by the day. So
Oh,
they
okay.
charge per day. But there's some people that rent my car. So I actually just purchased the Jeep in January, so the beginning of this year, and pretty much strictly just for Turo. And so they'll just rent it out for a day, sometimes a week. I have some people that will rent it out. They'll purchase it for a day, but they'll only use it for 5 hours, and they still pay for the full day. So
Okay.
it's really cool. But then you just have to kind of come through like the turnover, also the maintenance on the vehicle. So there's definitely pros and cons to the Turo side.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, renting out your own vehicle that you already are making payments on, that's pretty easy to do. But then if you want to really scale it, you're going to have to buy these vehicles then, right? What kind of vehicles have you seen are the most popular? Is it like the sporty car? Because that's what I would think. I would be like, I want to rent a sporty car for the day or, you know, something really
You know,
cool.
for sure. I would definitely say it kind of depends on the state that you're in. So, like in Miami, definitely like a drop top Corvette or something would do perfect there. But out here in Colorado, it's more of a Jeep. So if you have like a Jeep Wrangler where you could pop off the top, you could definitely do that. But yeah, I would say it just kind of depends on what state and city you're in.
Yeah. Which one do you enjoy most? The real estate or the Turo?
I would say real estate.
Yeah.
Um, I've had a problem in the past to where I try to do too many things at one time. So right now I only have one vehicle on Turo, and I really don't have to do much for it. So I have a lockbox that's on the car, and then I just pretty much send them a code, have them send me the information that I need, and I'm pretty much hands off. All I have to do is do the checkout and the check in, and that's
Hmm.
pretty much it. So it's not too much time, maybe 10, 10 hours a month, if that.
Wow.
That- Yeah, it doesn't take me much time to do any of that. And right now, since I do have a car payment on there, it pretty much pays for my car payment, and I can net anywhere from $500 to $700 a month on
Not bad. Yeah. And
it.
it's
Yeah,
rented
so
out like most people are renting it on a daily basis, or like how many days on average do you see are being rented each month?
I would say it's pretty consistent. I had to take it off 1 month, and I still had maybe like two bookings that month, and then I had to take it off just because of some mechanical issues. But after that, I would probably say it really depends on the duration too. So a lot of
Okay.
people would just book it for a day, but I've seen anywhere from like 10 bookings for that month all the way up to like 17, 18 bookings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Nice.
a sometimes like a quick turnover. So
Yeah. So you enjoy the real estate more than the Turo. The Turo does bring in some nice cash flows, so that's good. Do you think that you're going to add more vehicles at some point or just keep it to, the one and or what do you think?
yeah, yeah, no, I definitely feel like I'm gonna add some more cars to the fleet. I live downtown Denver, so the parking down here is terrible. So it's I just rather not really deal with that headache right now. I am looking for a house to where I can park the vehicles in the driveway or the car, I mean the garage or whatever may work best. But at this point, I really want to focus on building my team, being able to acquire some more assets and just get some passive income from there, and then truly be able to switch over and start to build a tour business.
Nice, nice. Okay, so I had a random question just pop in my head. With the team on real estate, your real estate team, so there's subcontractors. Do you have like a place that everybody is working from, or do you set up like an all-day Zoom that everybody can kind of come in and out of? Like, how do you keep that connection and that communication going with the team and are you at like WeWork or something like that where everybody can meet up and work together?
Yeah, so it's all virtual. Every I do have a recurring Zoom that everyone can pop in and out. So I have one guy that's actually in Hawaii. He shows
Wow.
up consistently in the Zoom, but he's a 4 hour difference from me. So he's 4 hours behind. But then other than that, yeah, so everybody's really nobody in Denver besides my partner. And everybody else is scattered around the states.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think with everything going so virtual, in the last few years, it's really opened up a lot more opportunity for everybody. It's just amazing. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So another random question. So, uh, whether it's the Turo or your real estate, like, what is a success story or a milestone that you're particularly proud of?
Mm. I mean, I would say just not giving up on my rhythm. Since I started in 2019, it's kind of been a battle. I mean, friends, family are like, man, you're still doing this? Like, what's going on? And I actually took the leap 2 years ago and quit my job after I graduated college. And I was just like, I'm going to go all into real estate. So I think it's consistent and not giving up on what I know I can do. And it's starting to work out and everything's starting to come into fruition. And now I have the opportunity to go out to the mastermind in October and meet everybody there and definitely create some really good opportunities for myself.
That's awesome. What do your family and your friends say at this point? Are they more supportive or?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. They're starting to see that things are starting to move a little bit smoother, and definitely just realizing that I'm not going to give up regardless. So it's next, I just you're with me or against me. So and everyone's kind of just saying, hey, I'm with you now. I see what you got going on. I see your future plans. So I'm over the
Yeah.
ride.
How did you stay motivated? Like when it was getting pretty hairy, like,
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, there's been times where I'm like, I don't know if I should continue to go. Should I just like do something else? But I don't know. I think it's just that burning desire inside you, knowing that this is what you want, and also like when you're watching podcasts or watching people, you're like, well, if he could do it, I could do it. I see he's making X amount every month. Like, why can't I do that? So it's just knowing it's really you that's stepping on your own toes. Like if you can't if you want to accomplish something, it's only yourself is the one that's going to hold you back.
yeah, I love it. Yeah. I think Pace has said, what is it? Mindset is 90% of it, right? Like you can, and
You
I think about that in my work because I still have my W-2 and the different challenges that I've had work-wise and then on my real estate journey. And it really is the mindset. Like no one else is stopping you from being able to be successful in this. In fact, I would say this is one industry where everybody I've met at every meetup, they're all willing to help. We're all willing to help each other. You don't really
know,
see that too much in other industries or businesses. It's kind of like, everybody is out for themselves. And we can be competitive, but we can still help each other out, right?
yeah.
It's amazing. It is inspirational as well that, here you are, you don't know me from anything, and you're sharing your experience and the things that have helped you through to see the success. Blah, I can't talk. Success that you have, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Pace created an amazing community. Like beforehand, I mean, you could definitely tell a lot of people weren't open to truly helping you succeed and close deals and not really look for compensation. But now the community that he's built are here to help out any way we can and just truly help, just want to see other people succeed. I mean, Pace is a
Yeah,
huge go-giver. I think a lot of people want to be like him. So that's where that starts to rub off. And now you can just see many people doing the same for others.
exactly. Yeah, it's huge. So speaking of mindset, and of course we've got like all of the resources that Pace offers, but there's books that he talks about that are really that have made an impact on him. Are there any books in particular that have helped you or made a significant impact on your growth, on you personally?
Yeah. So I actually had a mentor before Pace. He does a lot of creative financing as well. He's based out in Arizona, but he focused a lot on mindset, and just getting you get past that holding yourself back essentially. And so one book he recommended to me to read was Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And that one was a really, really good book. Kind of just maps it out and also kind of gives you it just kind of explains a lot of things that hold you back from doing what you truly want to do. So I highly recommend reading that book. And yeah, a few others. I mean, definitely the one that Pace is always recommending. Rocket Fuel. If you haven't read that, that's a really good book. Figure out what side you're on. And then I'm currently reading the You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. I know he's preached that one a bit, but yeah,
I've heard that one.
really good. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm halfway through it right now. So
Nice. Awesome. Okay, so I think one last question that I would ask is, what advice would you give someone just starting out?
yeah, I would definitely say to try to squat up with as many people as possible. At least get out of your comfort zone and go talk with people. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Actually, when I first got in, I was like, oh, I can do it on my own. But if you're brand new, you don't know anything about it, join a team, get paid to join the team and learn at the same time. And just, like I said, get out of your comfort zone and go talk to people. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yes. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking this time to get on with me on my first podcast. This was amazing. And of course, hey, I'm a buyer in Arizona, so we got to connect.
Yeah, most
Do
definitely.
some business with you for sure. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you, Stephanie, for having me on your podcast.